They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. And here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're well. You're amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. And you are looking absolutely amazing on this stupendous Saturday. That's it, baby. It's Saturday. It's the weekend. And we're going to keep it light. I say light this morning. You'll have to decide whether you do think it's light, because this video is being done off the back end of an interview that Steve Goncalves did with Ashley Butfield, and Lucy Morningstar had done a post just to raise it. And just as I was on my phone, I was looking at these posts I was scrolling through, and Mrs. Harsh is next to me, and even Mrs. Harsh was like, "Whoa, surely he can't say that. Surely he can't say that." And what are we talking about? We're talking about this post here. And it is basically Steve Goncalves being asked by Butfield, what do you want to happen to Bryan now? And he makes this statement that seems to suggest that he is in communication with people inside the prison system. Now, whether he knows them through his own brother, I don't know, and why. We've heard the rumours about Nathan and why he's inside and what he's inside for, and it does make me wonder whether Steve Goncalves has the same feelings towards Nathan as what he does other people who murder, or whether murder's okay unless it's murder that affects you. Skin in the game. And we all know it's one of my favourite phrases about having skin in the game. But murder's murder. Murder's murder. If someone goes out and they intentionally take another person's life, or they do something that could ultimately take someone's life and that's removed, it's not kind of a snap, heat of the moment situation, which we know does sometimes have to be taken into context, snapped, and even though the outcome is just as heinous and should be punished accordingly, there's a difference between, an emotional snap that results in someone acting out of character that sadly leads to someone's death, and someone actively going out of their way to hurt, maim, kill. But this post would suggest that Steve Goncalves is in communication with people inside the prison system, and he describes it as kind of a welcome gift, which to me, I don't think he's wondering whether they have a gift box for Bryan Kohberger, that he is going to go into prison and someone is going to go up to him with a bag of balloons, or some of them little things that you dip in the fluid and blowing bubbles, that sort of stuff. I know that you're limited to what you can have in prison. You can't have sharps and stuff like that, but I think bubbles would be quite safe. You could obviously throw the liquid into people's eyes, and that could probably make them sting, so maybe you can't have bubbles. But my point being, this is when he talks about a gift package, a welcome gift. I don't think he means anything nice. I don't think he's talking about anything like that. So it's almost like he is saying, I'm in communication with people inside the prison system. They've reached out to me. We're talking. We're having communication, and my hope is that Bryan Kohberger will go in there and they will fuck him up. Prison justice, as he calls it. Now, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure here, because I know that the laws in different places, they can be very, very different. And especially me being in the UK, some of our laws might be really different. But we have a situation in the UK where, and look, this isn't an argument about whether it's right or whether it's wrong, but the long and short of it is a guy, Ruba Cabana, goes in and murders children. And then off the back end of that, there's a massive uproar, and a young mum. Well, I say young mum, sort of I think she's in her 30s, which is young. It's young compared to me. I'm like 45, which is also young, very young, too young. Some might even say I'm still a baby. I'm like the eternal 21-year-old. But anyway, so this mum, who has a daughter and an ill husband, puts a post on Facebook. it's it's in the back end of being angry, anger. Children have been killed and yada yada yada. There's some political situation around it which I'm not going to get into because I could likely find myself with her in prison because that's where she ended up after putting a post on Facebook, which would seem to suggest that she was saying that she wouldn't so much care if there was violence towards people off the back end of what happened to these children. But that got her in prison. And here we have a situation where you could argue is bordering on the lines of conspiracy to commit murder. When you are in communication with somebody that could result in someone dying off the back end of that conversation. Are you with me? Or have I read this completely wrong? Let me know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments. Is that what we're witnessing here? That we have descended into that kind of realm where people seemingly feel that the best thing to do is to go onto a large platform where the public are going to sit in their droves, so we're talking about thousands, and basically openly admit to, yes, I'm in communication with people inside the prison, and I hope that they do something to Bryan. Because again, I don't think we're actually talking about, when we say welcome gifts and things like that, the aforementioned balloons or bubbles. I don't think we're talking about that at all, are we? We're talking about some kind of retribution. And I would like to know what the US law is around that. Maybe someone can clue me in, or maybe we're reading into this far too deeply. Because look, at the moment we're in this void. I've described it previously as like that time between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, where we don't really know what's going on. There's just something that's we know where we should be, but we're not quite there yet. And Bryan Kohberger's admitted to this crime, and look, he's admitted to it, so a lot of people are going to take that as gospel. Yeah, he's admitted to it. Why would a person admit to doing something that they couldn't do? Now, I have had somebody reach out to me, and it seems legit. It does seem extremely legit. I can't share it at the moment because I need to speak to them about whether I can, in fact, share it, and there is a potential that they will do something for me. But they are claiming to know Bryan, and we're not talking about like William or the people who have come up so far. Well, I'm talking about someone else who has interacted with him and has spoken about him in depth and some real telltale things, and it seems legit. I wish I could say more, but out of respect to the person who shared it, I don't want to say more at the moment. But there will be a time, I imagine, when this will come out on here. But anyway, I digress. Point being, he's admitted to doing it. Why would he admit to doing it? And there's certain people, me included, that despite appreciating the fact that Bryan Kohberger could absolutely be guilty of this crime, there's just something that just don't sit right. What we've seen so far, the issues that we've seen so far, we don't feel that it's been 100% proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he did this crime. And there's just this niggling doubt in the back of our minds that is just, what if Bryan Kohberger just, he agreed to take a plea, he's done this plea deal off the back end of being petrified for his life, being petrified that there could be ramifications of what he is being accused of on his family. And, maybe it was just that. Maybe we're talking about someone who was just petrified of dying and wasn't willing to go into court and just risk rolling that dice. It happens. It happens. Is it likely that he did do it and he's just admitted to it? It can happen. I definitely can't sit here and say I believe Bryan Kohberger to be innocent, because I don't know. I don't know whether he's innocent. What I do know is that he hasn't been proven to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and the only thing that we now have is a guy saying that he has indeed done it. He's agreed to accept the charges, and there are reasons why he could have done that without being guilty of the crime itself. And I know that you're going to get backlash off saying that, but it is just the way it is. And what I won't do is sit here on this platform and just say what people want me to say because it makes them feel better. I'm not going to sell out for that. But let me know how you feel down below. Has Steve Goncalves finally gone a step too far? Conspiracy to murder, is that too far? I'd say it is. Love you all. Mwah.